to our 7th lesson of Latin. This is just a quick recap of what we learned last time. We talked about the feminine, masculine, and neuter, and how, depending on what the noun is, if it's feminine, masculine, or neuter, that depends on how its adjective will go along with it. So, just remember, puella is feminine. It's like the first declension. That doesn't matter here. It's just feminine. So it's going to take the ending of a on mala. Puer is masculine, so it takes the ending of us, so malus. Apodum is neuter, so it takes the ending of so malum. All that aside, now we're going to talk about a new case of nouns, which is the case of the indirect object, called the dative case. Now remember, nominative is the subject, accusative is the direct object, dative is the indirect object. Do not get these confused. Here's an example of what we're talking about. Sally tells Jerry a story. Okay, think about it for a second. Just take a quick refresher in your mind about in English class, when they were talking about direct and indirect objects, what's the difference? I'm going to give you a second. Okay, hope that was enough. Anyways, so dative case of the indirect object, dative, indirect object. Anyways, okay, so in this sentence, Sally tells Jerry a story. Sally, of course, is the subject. Sally is doing the action. A story is the direct object, however, because a story takes the action. This action goes directly to a story. What is she telling? She's telling a story. She's not telling Jerry, she's telling a story. So, Jerry becomes the indirect object then, because Sally tells a story, her action goes to a story, but it's for Jerry. So it's indirectly being affected here. The story is being directly told, but Jerry is being indirectly affected. Alright, so new vocab. Fabula, which is story. Fabula, it sounds like a fable. We have nominative case is fabula and fabulae. We have accusative, it's fabulum and fabulas. Now this is just a feminine noun, it's just going to act like puella. And then we have narrare, to tell, which is going to act like ambulare and all of them. All the ones that end with are. So this is all stuff we've seen. Okay, here's another example. It says, ego agricolae fabulam narro. I tell the story to the farmer. Alright, before we even look at the bottom half of that, just look at this English sentence here. Who is the subject? The subject is I. What is I doing? They're telling the story. They are telling the story, so the story gets tell, it gets the action directly, so the story is the direct object. Who is being affected indirectly by this? The farmer. So the farmer is being indirectly affected, but the story is being directly affected. So I is the subject. Ego narro, I tell, I is the subject. Fabulam, the story. Story is the direct object, so it's in the accusative case. Agricolae is the indirect object, so it's in the dative case. And I say that at the end. Story is in the accusative, farmer is in the dative. Alright. Of the indirect object. I'm just going to keep reminding you, dative, case of the indirect object. Alright, so when we're talking about the endings of our different nouns, we have puella, that's feminine of the first declension. It becomes puellae and puellarum. Puellae, puellarum. Notice how it's kind of confusing because in the nominative case, if you're saying a plural subject, it would be puellae as well. It would end in ae. But this is the singular version in the dative case. So we're finding some overlaps here. Alright, now puer. This is a masculine noun of the second declension. It's puero and pueris. Apoda. This is a neuter noun meaning town of the second declension. It's apodum and apodos. Os. So we have I, arum, o, is, os. Now, just to conjugate this for you, just this verb, just so we can remember what this looks like. Let me give you this example. We have narro, I tell. Narras, you tell. Narat, he, she, it tells. Naramus, we tell. Naratis, y'all tell. Narat, they tell. O as at, alus atis ant. O as at, alus atis ant. I know that's annoying, but we have got to get these endings. Alright. This is a chart of the different cases of each of these nouns, just so we can see the difference all together. We have feminine of the first declension at the top. And my example here is puella. We have masculine of the second declension here, and my example is gladius. We have neuter, and my example is opera. Alright, so in the nominative case of the subject, we have puella, puellae, gladius, gladi, oppidum, oppida. Now, if you can't already tell, the top word on each of these is in the singular, and the bottom is in the plural. Okay, so accusative case of the direct object, we have puellam, puellas, gladium, gladius, oppidum, oppida. You can see kind of some similarities in these. Now we have dative, indirect object, puellae, puellarum, gladio, gladis, oppidum, oppidos. Alright, that's all. I hope you found little snippets over here. Go ahead and read it, and then thank you for watching.